Welcome to the Investing Bros. 51,000 and some change. Bros, I'm getting excited. It is getting crazy here on the Bitcoin charts. Let's take a look at them here. I've got it pulled up. As you can see, we have smashed through this support here at 50,000. We've smashed through that resistance. We've made it support almost. We have not gotten that pullback. Now, what I will say, a lot of things. I've got a lot of things to say, but good morning, first of all. And second of all, is this is a daily candle that has yet to close. Okay, I don't want to upset anybody, but one thing to note is that this candle body has not yet closed, and so it is still technically possible for this candle to come all the way back down below 50,000 and go ahead and close below that. Now, I know what you're thinking, T-Shroom, come on, why rain on the parade? We're having fun here. Bitcoin's pushing higher. It is pushing higher, and it looks like most indications are pointing towards that it's going to continue to push higher. However, we do have to be sober-minded. We do have to practice good risk management. And what I'll say is that this is starting to get a bit overbought. I was saying that yesterday. I was also saying it the day before, right? And I was also saying it on Friday. So, you have to make the decisions for yourself. But what I'd say is I am starting to gain confidence that we are a bit overbought here at these levels. I'm going to show you why in just a few minutes. All right, let's go ahead and see what's going on here in chat. Got Nancy Croy saying, good morning, bros. Good morning indeed. Folks, we have hit $1 trillion market cap. Let's take a look at that really quickly. Look here on CoinMarketCap, you can see $1 trillion right here, boys. Let's go. It's crazy to see. Whoa, there we go. Let's go ahead and click in on it. Don't want to do that. The overall market cap for crypto here is kept track here. It's just under 2 trillion, so 1.85 trillion here for market cap of crypto in general. Okay, so that is very, very exciting. Obviously, this is going to be something that ricochets all over the media, and we've got a headline here that we'll get to in just a second from mainstream financial media proclaiming that 1 trillion mark has been met. Dimitar Marinov said, only you back on 50. Only you back on 50. Gotcha. Okay, so getting some help here from the bros showing that me, T-Shroom, is the only one back on 50. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Just because I'm the only one doesn't mean I'm wrong. And it also doesn't mean I'm taking a super strong stand here. I'm just trying to help you guys see what's going on. Servando Estrada said, I'm doing better than I deserve. That is great. That is great. I love that. Crypto Billy coming in saying 1 trillion market cap again. Let's go. Crypto Billy, of course, they just had their last night. They just had their Billy Goat Tales. So make sure you're tuning in there at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard for Billy Goat Tales over on X, formerly Twitter. Crypto Mini Bike said, good morning, everybody. So Crypto Mini Bike getting in here, showing everybody what's up. It is so good to see all my bros in here. Drew P said, it just happened to me with CAS, but yeah, I think I have a better chance at buying back lower than Bitcoin. Maybe. So Drew P thinking that there could be a potential dip for Caspa where he can fill his bags. That's an interesting thought. All right, here's an interesting one from Drew P again. He said, you get it. I keep laughing every time Wall Streeters celebrate that the S&P reaches new all-time highs because that just means inflation is still diluting your money. It's an interesting take. That is definitely true to some extent, but there are other kind of ways to interpret that. All right. Love it. Love it. Overcome 70 times 7 said buying more on red $1 million days. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Well, let's go ahead and get to this CNBC article. Then we're going to take a look at some charts. We have some big price movements to cover. Bitcoin regains 1 trillion market cap as the cryptocurrency hits over 2-year highs. And it absolutely has done that, and it smashed it. The value of all Bitcoins in circulation or market cap on Wednesday rose above 1 trillion for the first time since late 2021, according to CoinMarketCap. We already took a look at that. So you already know the majority of this stuff if you've been tuning into the Investing Bros, but Bitcoin rallied more than 150% in 2023 as anticipation built for the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's approval of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, which eventually came in January this year, of course. That event was very, very exciting. We covered it, and it was one of the top-viewed videos for the Investing Bros. I think we had like 6,000 live concurrent viewers, so that was really, really exciting. Speaking of which, smash the likes. If you're coming in, maybe you're new, maybe you're not new, go ahead and smash the likes. If you're driving, be careful. Don't make sure you pull over to smash the likes. Let's go ahead and jump on back over to the charts because I've got some things I want to show you. Why I'm beginning to get a little more confident that Bitcoin should be slowing down and moving sideways, and that has everything to do with the partner that we have for indicators, right? And that's Lux Algo. So Lux Algo here, it displays these two waves. On the top, there's the red waves, and on the bottom, there's the green waves, and you'll see that there's two different levels of these waves, right? You have the darker, and then you have the lighter, and then the same thing on the bottom. Now, what this means is this is essentially an overbought and an oversold indicator, okay? And it's in a reversal, and it can kind of signal when a reversal is going to be coming in. Now, what you'll see is, T-Shroom, there's exceptions to this. Absolutely there are. Especially in periods of consolidation, like what we had all through this region here, where from June 2023 to October 2023, okay? Just generally a good period of consolidation where there moves, absolutely there were moves. But for the most part, for Bitcoin, you can see it was just generally kind of flat, a little bit of stable coin action there for your bear market. But then things changed, and they changed quickly because these compressed waves got penetrated through, sliced to the upside like it was nothing, right? You got a test back here with this wick back on October 16th. It's actually birthday of somebody I love. I won't dox them. But and then you have a move higher here right through both of these waves, okay? And then the rest of the story of late 2023 and obviously 2024 has been playing with this wave, staying in it as much as possible, and then when it comes back down, finding support. Mostly on the midline of the Bollinger Band, I would say, for the daily chart, but also other places as well. Here, Bitcoin tested recently. Recognize this part, right? It might look a little different because the candlesticks take on a different color whenever I turn this indicator on, but I assure you, it is still the same Bitcoin. I turn it back on, you can see this is where Bitcoin tested lower. It got below that midline of the Bollinger Band, but didn't even get close, really. It did not even really get close to the oversold region here, or the bullish reversal area. So these clouds, these waves, whatever you want to call them, they kind of indicate reversal. And so what we're seeing now is that Bitcoin is starting to get deeper and deeper into the reversal area, right? And I've got this line drawn here. This is a very historic line. So it's 53,000 even, or 53,000 and a little bit of change. But you might as well think about it as 53,000. That is coinciding, and that it has some confluence here with where this wave, or whatever you want to call it, reversal band, reversal wave, where that goes ahead and goes into that more extreme overbought zone. Now, again, I'm not saying that it can't continue into that zone. It's done it here, right? And it certainly did it back here. Bitcoin did back in October. But listen very carefully to what I'm saying. I'm not saying it has to do X or it is going to do Y. I'm saying my confidence is growing that we're going to get sideways movement here. I could be wrong. Absolutely, I could be wrong. And I'm going to show you why I could be wrong here in a second. But for the purposes of this, all I'm trying to do is help you all understand that you're potentially buying some pretty highly priced Bitcoin at a time where it may not be as highly priced in the near future. Okay, so you're buying it before it goes on discount. It's been on discount. It's been on extreme discount, right? This is where you should have been buying. If you have zero, and I was talking about this with Jenna X. She and I, we had a pretty good back and forth trying to get our heads around this. I'm not telling you not to buy Bitcoin. I would never do that, right? Especially if you don't have any exposure. But what I am trying to tell you is the basic principles of winning in the markets is buy low, sell high. And right now, Bitcoin is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, high, right? We just got this headline, Bitcoin regains 1 trillion, regaining a milestone. I'm not saying that this is bearish. I'm literally saying the opposite. It's not bearish. It's just high. And if you're a swing trader or if you're a hodler, right? You can modify your DCA, you can modify your swing trade kind of approach and plan so that you are actually going to wait to see a pullback. Now, what I said the other day, I believe it was Monday, what I said on Monday when we were here, right, is that we were gonna trade sideways, and then a little mini altcoin season was going to be upon us. Now that was invalidated because a bullish thing happened, right? Bitcoin continued to press higher, and that's for a lot of different reasons that happened. But ultimately, that can continue to happen. There's really nothing stopping Bitcoin upside thesis right now. And that's what you have to understand. There's a difference between the macro. This is where I think it gets confusing for people. There's a difference between the macro thesis that the bulls have and price action on the charts. Because the technicals are painting a portrait right now that Bitcoin could start to go sideways. Notice I'm also not saying pullback, right? It could pull back as well, right? But the technicals are really saying that there should be some sideways movement soon. Right here, you saw the delta. I've stayed on the daily this whole time just to keep things as simple as possible. You saw a delta, a reversal signal here from the Lux Algo oscillator that coincided. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. Why is that so small? Okay, it's not showing. Okay, there you go. Now you can see it down here at the bottom of my screen. Thought I was going crazy there for a second. You can see that there was a call for a reversal here, right? And all we got was basically wrong answer. It's not a reversal at all, okay? But eventually it did bonk its head on 50,000, and look what you got. You got a correction. And this is all a test lower, really, not a correction. This is all I'm trying to say right here, guys, is that the buy thesis is so strong for Bitcoin, there's nothing stopping it from going higher. But that doesn't mean that it's going to go higher all at once. There can be tests lower, as we saw here, testing that 50,000 level. Now I'm going to throw in another indicator that is a little bit more convincing about why right now, because we threw this one on, right? Well, it's like, well, T-Shroom, we still got, 1.25% to go up before, you're thinking that a reversal is going to happen, or you think that a retest is going to happen. That is kind of what I'm saying, right? According to that indicator. This indicator, however, right? This is a premium zone, right? This is now there's three different zones here that Lux Algo generates relative to the price action of the underlying asset. You have premium zone, equilibrium zone, and then you have discount zone, right? We've seen this before. This is not new. All this means is equilibrium zone is where the market is essentially agreed on price to some extent, right? From just within this range, this is kind of the average of the range to some extent. Now, what you're also seeing here is that we're starting to get deeper and deeper into that premium zone, and we're actually now crossing that halfway mark that is illustrated here by this red horizontal line. Hopefully this is helpful for you all. I try not to get too far into the weeds here of the technical analysis on the 9 a.m. stream. So why am I even bringing this up at all? I really am I'm overemphasizing this because what I really don't want is for new folks to come into the space, buy up here, right at resistance, or just a little bit away, a 1.25% away from some very significant resistance, and then Bitcoin tests lower to whatever levels, and then they sell, right? What I'm saying is if you have zero exposure, buy a little Bitcoin, but only a fraction of what you can afford to lose. So not what you can afford to lose, a fraction of what you can afford to lose. If you can afford to lose $100 right now, if I took $100 away from you, it wouldn't change your life, then you should, what I'm saying is get a little bit of exposure, meaning like $5, $10, $20, right? A fraction of that $100, okay? If I took $3,000 away from you and that wouldn't change your life, then you have $3,000 to invest. But that means maybe you only put 100, 300, 500, right, to get a little bit of exposure at these levels, okay? When there's a pullback, that's when you unload your bags. And I would have a bias towards unloading them at dips and any dips that you can find, right? Now, why is that? Because that macro buy thesis is so strong, right? You have the pension funds, you have the family offices, you have the hedge funds that have been hesitant to buy Bitcoin for reason X, Y, Z. And now that thesis is that those reasons, those hesitations for buying Bitcoin are melting away day by day as that FOMO starts to kick in, right? Fear and Greed Index. Let's take a look at it here. This is the one from CoinMarketCap, and I do have news, I do have stories, but I want to hit this home for you guys. The Fear and Greed Index right here is in pretty good greed. It's in greed. It's not an extreme greed quite yet, but it is in greed. Okay. FOMO. FOMO is the name of the game right now. That is everybody's mindset, is fear of missing out. Don't be one of the people who buys high, price comes down, you get scared, and then you sell for a loss. We are not in crypto to lose money, okay? We're not in crypto to lose money. If you sit on the sidelines and wait, you will get a good entry point. That's the reality of it. If you buy right now, it's better than never buying. It's better than never getting an exposure. And that's why I'm saying invest a fraction of what you can afford to lose, right? Wait for prices to come back down and then go ahead and buy in. My thought, my kind of base case scenario here is the following, right? Is that we do go ahead and fill up this 1.25% gap to the upside. We test both the top side of the premium zone. I'll throw on that reversal as well, and the halfway zone of that reversal band, right? And this historic level that I have drawn at 53,000, okay? Now that comes back down and tests lower. Where? Probably 50,000, right? Did you not get any Bitcoin at 50,000 and you still don't have any Bitcoin? Would you rather have Bitcoin at 50,000 or 53,000, right? It's better to have some Bitcoin than none Bitcoin, right? So hopefully this is all making sense. I think I've said the same thing a couple of times here, so I think we're ready to move on. Ethereum doing the dance really, really well. You can see here, it is in its proximity to the premium zone. It's also getting very overbought, you would say. Now, again, the buy thesis is perhaps even stronger for Ethereum because it has yet to have its spot Ethereum ETF approved, right? Now, the reversal bands are telling a slightly different story. The reversal bands, still on the daily chart, are saying, hey, Ethereum actually hasn't gotten that overbought yet. So these indicators are not all perfectly agreeing with each other, right? You have to understand what each mean and what each are indicating and with what level of precision and accuracy they're doing this. And what's nice about Lux Algo is that it does a lot of the math and calculations and risk analysis for you, right? And just goes ahead and tells you, like, this is a good place to probably enter. Exit. This is a good place to enter on this specific time frame. And you can also drill into like the 15-minute charts. Let's say you only have 15 minutes to trade is one way to think about it. You can also see Lux Algo prints these, and then the levels of confidence are illustrated by 1 through 4. So this would be a low confidence, entry point. Then the price goes up and you sell it, right? And then the price comes back into a favorable zone, right? Something happens with the technical setup, it buys it. Now, you have to use confluence. What I would say is do not just trade based on just these indicators. That is not a winning strategy. It's a better strategy. It's a better strategy than just not looking at the charts at all and just buying, right? Trying to swing trade without an indicator. But it's much better to use confluence, right? And so there's this oscillator here that you can use in confluence with all of the other indicators that I have up on my screen. The MACD, right? The Lux Algo, signals and overlays, and the price action concepts. And all of these come together and culminate in a beautiful stew of indicator magic that you're going to absolutely love. Now, you might be thinking, but T-Shroom, when I go to try to put the Lux Algo indicator on, it doesn't work. Well, you have to pay for it. It is a paid indicator, but it's something that Tim and I find worthwhile. And by the way, Tim is going to be back today. Very, very excited for that. Tim is coming back on the $1 trillion day for Bitcoin. How exciting is that? Well, obviously, we're seeing upside for a lot of these coins. Let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto bubbles, and it is a sea of green, folks. It is a sea of green. It's awesome. Let's see who's leading the market. It looks like DYM. So DYM has kind of come out of nowhere and has been performing really, really well. Doesn't look like it's even been tracked by crypto bubbles for more than a month. But you can see in that month it's done really well. 47 in the time that it's been tracked, it's done very, very well. So that's nice to see. You're also seeing Stacks outperform Blur, doing well. Bonk, the Solana meme coin, kind of coming back with the vengeance here. H&T and Tau both doing pretty well. So it's nice to see some of these names doing really well. I don't see a single red name except for eHex, which I do not keep up with the Pulse Chain network and the Hex network. That's something that I don't have enough bandwidth to try to keep up with that community. Enough said. Let's move on. Let's get into some of these stories, guys. We covered CNBC's coverage here of the $1 trillion moment. It is a lot of fun. And after all, I had to make that thumbnail with the $1 million quote. That's always a fun time. But it looks like Bitcoin is absolutely bucking. The risk asset like Bitcoin are defying low Fed rate cut expectations. So it's bucking those rate cut expectations that are kind of dwindling away. And we've covered this. We've covered this already, but I wanted to take a moment just to kind of drill into some of the details and some of the quotation here. So while we saw a small pullback in Bitcoin on the back of the news, in general, risk assets seem to be acting as if a March rate cut was still on the table, even though the vast majority of the market participants don't expect this. Oliver Rust, head of product at independent economic data provider TrueFlation, said in an email interview. Very cool. Very cool. TrueFlation. Oliver Rust. That's a name right there. Oliver Rust. Sorry, I get so distracted. Have you guys diagnosed me with ADHD yet? Because that is 100% accurate. A polymarket contract gives a 59% chance that Bitcoin will hit an all-time high in 2024, while another gives a 66% chance that Bitcoin will hit an all-time high before ETH. Interesting. Yeah, I can generally agree with that. Until we see a softening in the economic model, rate cuts are likely to be off the table till May or June, Russ continued. But perhaps markets have simply accepted the fact that higher for longer interest rates are here to stay and have learned to live with this new reality. Or, plot twist, the markets don't care about the Fed anymore, right? I think the Fed narrative was almost impossible to ignore when this man was coming out and actually hiking rates. But now, I think the market is like a pause, a cut, 5.25, 5.5. What's the difference? Who really cares? It sucks. These interest rates are high. Banks are going to have to adapt. Some of them are going to have to get bought by other banks in the case of Signature and New York Community Bank, right? It's going to have more of an impact on, traditional markets, and the traditional markets that are not very good, right? Like the regional banks that haven't been doing very well, haven't been performing very well, and not prepared for high interest rates. It's going to suck for them. But for Bitcoin, I mean, it's a flight to quality and it's a growth stock all at the same time. So I think that we'll probably continue to see prices move higher. And remember, that's that macro bullish thesis, right? Separate from what's happening day to day on the charts, and this is why sometimes like the price will come down and you'll be like, oh no, what happened with Bitcoin? And you'll tune in and all the YouTubers are saying, buy the dip. Why? Because that's when you buy. You don't want to buy when price is going higher, right? You want to buy when prices come lower in an asset that you are confident in. I do this with Bitcoin. I've done this with Microsoft. I've done it with Tesla. I've also sold Tesla. I'm not in Tesla right now. Sold it for a profit, right? We're not talking about selling Bitcoin. We're talking about when to buy Bitcoin, when to buy Ethereum, and on down the line. You want to look at those crypto bubbles again? Let's do it. They're all green. It's so beautiful to see. All right, let's keep moving here. We've heard from Oliver Rust over at TrueFlation, kind of weighing in and kind of giving the claim, hey, the markets, the stock market and Bitcoin don't really care, don't really seem to care. Let's actually check in. Well, the markets aren't open today, but let's check in on them. Oh, it looks like the Chinese market is finally back open. No, it's not. Okay, we'll leave that to the side for now. The Dow Jones, though, take a look here. Dow Jones continues to push higher, continues to continue to find support here on the midline of that Bollinger Band, looking pretty good. QQQ, same thing. So Oliver Rust is kind of asking the question, does he matter anymore? Does Jerome Powell matter anymore? And I don't know. I think the market, as long as there aren't any hikes, I don't know if the market really cares too much more. Obviously cuts would be good. It would be bullish, right? But there's a lot of people who are still ignorant out there who think that cuts are bad because they induce a recession. First of all, that's just not true. That's not how that works. But second of all, I think it's going to be bullish if they cut. It's going to be bullish if they don't cut. That's kind of the way that I see it. All right, next story here. Bitcoin futures open interest tops 21 billion, highest since November 2021. As of writing, open interest in perpetuals and standard futures stood at over 21 billion. There's a nice number to think about. With Bitcoin trading at 49,570 in the spot market, the open interest tally has increased 22% this year, nearing the record 24 billion seen in mid-November 2021 when Bitcoin traded above 65,000. So we're at highs right now for open interest. It means a lot of people are trading Bitcoin on the leveraged markets. The renewed interest in leveraged products like futures alongside a price rise represents an influx of new money on the bullish side and confirms the uptrend. Bitcoin has rallied 28% in just over 3 weeks, mainly due to strong inflows into the recently launched spot ETFs in the US. Yes, said very well. I appreciate that summary. That was a good summary. Right? Those ETFs were passed. There was a sell the news event, right? Because everybody was afraid that, they didn't understand. They were afraid that there was a major part of this market that was not priced in, and they were right. That part of the market was that there was a specific trust that was being converted into an ETF, and that the fees in that trust were really, really high. 1.5 to be exact. Still have not been changed to this day, by the way. And they were right. So if we go and we look at the charts, you can see it was a sell the news event. When that ETF dropped, was approved by SEC finally officially, right? Price shot up to 59, did not penetrate through 50,000, and then not immediately, but within 2 weeks, came all the way down to 21%, which is barely anything, but had a 20% pullback from those highs. And from there, it's been history, right? It's been higher. Bitcoin has been moving higher. And this is due to the waning of the selling of that GBTC, right? We've been talking about the macro bullish thesis is strong, and that does not change based on what's happening day to day on the charts, right? In the same way, the bearish thesis is weak, right? Now that could change. There could be a new bearish thesis. There could be a reason to sell Bitcoin that emerges. But for right now, there's not a ton of reason, macro, fundamental reason to sell Bitcoin. But there are some technical reasons to hold off on buying today, right, at these levels, because you are starting to get these proprietary indicators signaling that it is a bit overbought. And it doesn't mean get zero exposure, doesn't mean sell. It just means today may not be the best day. And how much am I helping you? I'm only helping you a little bit here. It's marginal help, but it is help. And it is risk mitigation. It's risk management, and it's good to do. Coinbase earnings prep. This is going to be, the earnings for Coinbase are going to be coming out tomorrow at market close. A lot of people in the United States and some people in Europe have exposure to Coinbase. I know I do. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be some interesting news come out of this because there's going to be some data on how much more money, much more fees Coinbase is able to collect from these new custodians. Right now, this bit of data is not going to show pretty much any of that, right? Because the spot Bitcoin ETFs are serviced by Coinbase, a lot of them, not all of them, but Coinbase is the custodian, right? It's kind of that. It's what connects the TradFi world, all the ETFs, to the actual blockchain, to Bitcoin. And so Coinbase is going to charge a fee for that. But none of that has been seen yet in Q4. And that is what the earnings report of Coinbase is going to reflect. But there probably was still an increase in earnings. It's really going to be the Q1 earnings that I'm interested in because, man, that is just going to be fascinating to see how this new essential customer for Coinbase is thriving, and has that affected the existing profitability model for Coinbase. I think expectations are for a pretty substantial recovery in Coinbase's trading revenue, with the company potentially being profitable during the quarter, said Morningstar analyst. The surge in cryptocurrency prices has translated to higher trading volume, which will be significant tailwind for Coinbase. Bullish. Okay, that's where I'll stop. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a lot of fun to have you all kind of join with me. I see some more names in here. Eric Wallen said, you did not sell Tesla for a profit, laughing my butt off. I sold a majority of it for a profit, and then I held on to some, and I think I did take a loss on a little bit of that. But hey, I'm glad I got out of Tesla for reasons that I don't have time to get into. But yeah, do I want to buy back into Tesla? Maybe. Probably not while Bitcoin is continuing to surge. I want to continue to DCA Bitcoin, right? And other altcoins. I just don't want to pour my liquidity into Tesla. Janet yelled, is it charged with its scarcity? Okay, we're going to need to take another whack at that sentence there, Robert Chu. But thank you so much for tuning in. Lunar Beaches Crypto said, mad love, T-Shroom. Got to love it, and I absolutely do. Thank you so much for tuning in. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got a very special guest, and his name is Tim Warren. He is the nephew of Elizabeth Warren. We're going to have some fun. Stay hydrated, and if you're trading, keep those stop losses tight. Have a great rest of your day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.